All right. Welcome, everyone, to today's press conference featuring the Princeton Tigers. We'll begin with questions for the student athletes, Caitlin Chin and Grace Stone. Once the players are dismissed, questions for head coach Carla Berube will follow. Reminder to those in person and on Zoom, please state your organization before asking your question. And those joining us on Zoom can use the raise hand function, and I will call on you throughout the press conference. So let's start with questions for the student athletes.
John Kuhn, Associated Press. You guys have been down this road before. One is the double-digit seed last year to get to the second round. You're back in the same position this year. What is different about this year's journey versus last year's journey?
I mean, I think that for us, we've had a lot of growing to do this year. We had a really tough non-conference schedule that I think we handled well. But I think, we started off our Ivy League season 0-2, which is something we hadn't done in a while. And we had a lot of growing to do in that period. And I think, to get to this point, I think I'm really proud of the work we've put in to be able to handle an NC State team that's really good. And so I think, the only thing that's different is kind of like who we are and how much we've grown as players to be able to handle, a game like that.
Next question.
Josh Newman, Salt Lake Tribune. For both players, between the Princeton men winning the other day and you guys winning last night, what can that do for the perception of Ivy League basketball, if not Princeton basketball?
I think the Ivy League has really grown in talent over the past few years. I think people are starting to realize that the Ivy League can be really competitive with other bigger name schools. So, it's really exciting to be able to play in a conference like that.
Yeah, I think, it takes a lot to be an Ivy League student athlete, and we have a lot of sacrifices that we have to make that a lot of people don't realize. So for both our programs to be successful at this level just shows the hard work and dedication of the players, the coaches, the staff, the administration, everyone that comes out of Princeton, because, we have so much to give the sport of basketball, but also, we're also students. And so I think that for us, it's an honor to be on this stage, but it just shows the hard work that everyone puts in.
Next question will come from Jen Hatfield on Zoom.
Jen Hadfield with the next. For either or both of you, going back to what you were just saying about the adversity you guys have faced this season and kind of gritting through some games in the past. When you look back on last night's game, does the way that you guys pulled that out or what you had to do to win, does that remind you of some of those games that you played earlier, whether it was in conference play or in the non-conference?
We definitely felt like we were in a familiar place last night. And I think being in that place before and knowing that we could pull it out as we've done before, we had that hope. And I feel like when you have that hope, that's all you really need to sort of win games, right?
Yeah, I think, like you said, we've been in a lot of tough games down the stretch. We took Rhode Island to a game where it was a 2-point game, and then, we were losing to Rutgers in the non-conference by a lot at half, and we had to come up with a win there. And every Ivy League game has been a battle, and so I think that, we've shown our toughness throughout the Ivy League schedule, and I think now it's showing that toughness transfers over to, the national stage.
And Caitlin, one more if I can follow up. We asked Grace about her game-winning 3 last night, but just for you as the primary ball handler on that play, what did you kind of see there? What was going through your head?
Coach comes up with a really great play, and Grace was open, so it didn't make my job too difficult.
Next question.
Isabel Rodriguez with the Daily Princetonian. I'm just curious for you guys, both last year and this year. There's such a good alumni presence from Princeton every year at these games. What does it mean for you to see the crowd there, even when it's kind of overwhelming with everybody else?
It's incredible. The Princeton Alumni Network is unlike anything in the country. We've always had support from our alums around the country, and, to be able to play for them means the most to us. I think that, there's such a legacy of Princeton women's basketball, and they always show out, they always show up for us, they always cheer us on. I got so many text messages from alums after the game, and we do it for each other, and I just think that shows the strength of Princeton women's basketball as a program.
Obviously, coming into the tournament, you guys have the number 5 scoring defense in the country. Fundamentally, at a basic level, what has made Princeton so successful on defense, so stingy to where you're able to put up those kind of numbers?
You want me to say or you say?
Tiger principles. No, we joke around that we just have, a set of fundamental rules within our defense that we have to stick to, communication being the biggest one. I think that, when you have 5 players that are all on the same page on defense, even if you mess up, even if you make a mistake, the game plan, you're able to cover for people, make up, and then it's just a matter of playing as hard as you can. And I think for us, we've really tried to stick to that, and we've gotten so much better at sticking to those principles.
As you guys prepare for tomorrow, I mean, what are the biggest things that you're looking to improve from yesterday, and where's your head at?
I think we're excited. Like, we're looking forward to, we know LV will come up with a really great scout, and we're just looking forward to hopefully executing it to the best of our abilities.
Any other questions for the student athletes? All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have head coach Carla Berube. Coach, if you'd like to start with an opening statement, and then we'll take questions.
Opening statement. We had to turn the page from last night. It was an emotional, amazing night to pull out that victory against NC State and tried to get a little sleep, but a lot of preparation went in last night, this morning to get ready for a really tough, strong Utah team that's had a really, really great year. It's been fun watching them. They're definitely different than a team than we've seen this year. So it's going to be a great challenge, and really excited for this. Excited for us being, back in the round of 32, and looking forward to getting on the practice court today and talking about what we need to do to be successful tomorrow.
First question.
John Kuhn, Associated Press. I asked this question to your players earlier, and I also wanted to get your thoughts on the same topic. I mean, you've been to this point in the tournament before. You won as the double-digit seed last year as well. Comparing last year's journey to this year's journey, what stands out to you as being different this time around? I mean, how has your team changed and evolved from last year to this year?
Yeah, I think they talked about it. It's been just a different journey, one that we've just had to sort of persevere through some tough times in late December, early January. Saw some adversity and fought through it and worked really, really hard in practices and film sessions and meetings, and they really have come together and are playing really good basketball at this point. It's different too because last year it was the first time for all of us. For me, that was my first NCAA experience at the Division I level with the Tigers. So a lot of them, it was a new experience as well. And so I think there's just a familiarity this year. And that probably had a lot to do with us just, pulling that out last night too. Just a big stage, big moments, but we stayed poised and got the job done. So it doesn't get old being here and being at this stage. So there's a lot of excitement too. But I think when you're excited and just happy about being here, that can help you. You want to have all that. You want to have all those feelings and having strong emotions, but knowing that there's work to be done too. But I think it's a good balance of both.
Josh Newman, Salt Lake Tribune. Carla, part of your opening statement, you mentioned that this Utah team appears to be unlike any other team that you've seen this season. Can you expound on that? What about this Utah team makes you think that this is unlike a team you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, I would say they're a little bit like Columbia, where they shoot a lot of threes at a really high clip and well. There's no post player we've seen like Peely, just not. She's extremely, yeah, I mean, she just gets it done in the paint. She also can shoot threes, really versatile. She catches everything that's anywhere close to her. Great hands, great finishing. Just works really hard in the paint. And yeah, I mean, they all can score from the outside. They all can score at the rim really well. They run fast. And yeah, it'll certainly be a challenge. And we have to be at our best on the defensive end and be able to execute offensively, because they're good defensively too. And they're long, and they can wreak some havoc with things they do defensively. And we just need to be smart and execute the game plan, and just play Tiger basketball.
And just to follow that up, between the Princeton men winning their first round game, your team winning first round games each of the last 2 seasons, can that enhance the perception of the Ivy League, if not Princeton basketball?
I sure hope so. We've talked a lot about the 2-bit Ivy this year. Columbia had a really strong chance of making it in. I thought they should have. I don't know if everybody understands how good the Ivy League is. It's really great basketball. It's competitive. The battles that we had with Columbia and Harvard and Penn and down the line, it certainly got us ready for the NCAA tournament. And hopefully, I hope us being successful, the men being successful, that people do understand just how good Ivy League basketball is. I have several of my players that could have gone to Power 5 schools, but they chose the Ivy League and Princeton for the balance of academics and athletics. And I think that's happening more so, across the Ivy League, that there's just, great, skilled, talented players in our league.
Next question will come from Jen Hatfield on Zoom.
Jen Hatfield with the next. Carla, playing in Salt Lake City, how big of a factor is the altitude for everybody, not just for you? And how do you prepare for that and recover from that between games?
Yeah, I'm not sure how much we're feeling it or not. I know we've been talking about it a lot and making sure we're refueling and hydrating, and we got out into the air quickly as soon as we got here. And yeah, I mean, last night, my starters played a lot of minutes, and towards the end they were huffing and puffing, and yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it was those high minutes maybe had something to do with the altitude, but it's not something we're really too focused on, but we are making sure that we, it's a quick turnaround. We're used to back-to-back, so we know about how important it is to refuel, hydrate, rest, recover. So we're doing that to be ready for tomorrow night.
Just kind of following up on that, I mean, we've seen a lot of players go down with in-game injuries throughout the year, but Princeton seems to have avoided a lot of that so far. I mean, just talking about your injury prevention and what you guys do outside of the court, how is that translated to these big games as well?
Yeah, it's been great. I think we take really good care of our bodies. We have a great strength and conditioning coach. We have a great, athletic trainer and doctors and nutritionists that, really care about our student athletes, their wellness. From sports psychologists to counselors, it's all really, really important. The full body, the holistic approach. So, yeah, we've been, it's luck too. Injuries happen, and there's things that you just can't avoid. But I think my players really care about taking good care of their bodies, eating right, sleeping, and getting in the cold pool, cold bath and things like that to really, take care of themselves, but also, recover after tough games and practices.
Obviously, a tough defense is a strong part of this team's identity. What has kind of contributed to that identity developing just at kind of a basic level?
Yeah, I think it's just what I've learned, and when I was at Connecticut, and how important defense is to winning championships. When I was a player, I wasn't going to see the court unless I could really defend well, and so I've just always taken it to heart, and felt like you can separate yourself if you can really defend well, if you can have all five working together on the same page. Communication is the absolute foundation of all that. But there's definitely some things that we drill in practice and we harp on, and it's really, really important. Defending ball screens in lots of different ways. So there's, Grace mentioned, we call them Tiger defensive principles. And I think, players that have bought into it. There's some players that just don't really care about that end of the floor and only care about offense. But I think I have a group that truly cares and loves just getting stops and what it can do to offenses and players when you can frustrate them. So I spent 17 years at Tufts, and that was what we hung our hats on there, and I wanted to bring it to Princeton, and had a group that like I said, bought into it, and it's just it's who we are.
Lynn Roberts has said a couple of times this season that she believes that as parity in the women's game keeps being a thing, maybe at some point they take the first two rounds off campuses and put them back at neutral sites because the attendance is going to keep getting better and better. Mm-hmm. I'm curious from your end, as a coach who's taken her team on the road, won in home venues, would you be in favor of taking the first two rounds back to neutral sites at some point?
Yeah, I had the same question last year because we were playing at Indiana Assembly Hall, where it was like it was crazy, but it was such a great atmosphere, and right, so those programs and teams that have put together such a great season and got the opportunity to host, well, there's a reason for that. They had a great season, and when I was at Connecticut, we always hosted, and that was such an awesome experience as well. Put me wherever you want to put me, neutral or not. It is fun to be on a campus, and just seeing what other campuses have and programs, and what Utah has is pretty awesome here, and so it's good to see other programs. So I'm not so in favor of one over the other. I love just being able to get on the court, and if we can silence an away crowd, that's really fun too. So whatever works for everyone.
Just defensively, I mean, watching yesterday's game between Utah and Gardner-Webb, they were able to get inside a lot, but then also late game started to push the three more. How are you guys planning to balance the defense between working inside and outside as well?
You just gotta defend both. They're very, like I said, really proficient 3-point shooters, and both of. I mean, they have posts coming off the bench too that really can score inside as well. But Healy and Johnson are tough. We just got to work really hard. But I love my team. Ellie Mitchell is somebody that's different than maybe the Pac-12 has. And it's a defensive effort from all five. It's not just one-on-one inside. We've got to have great closeouts. You got to have your high hands so they don't get good looks at the three. Just working together to take away their strengths.
Final question will come from Jen Hatfield.
The other day, I think Thursday, your players were reflecting on last season's tournament run and how sometimes the opponent would kind of punch first and you'd weather that and ended up being really successful. And then last night, you guys lead 6-0 and reel off that 10-0 run out of the locker room. Is that a sign of growth, or is that me reading too much into one game? What do you make of that?
I don't know. We're all over the map. Sometimes it's a slow start. Sometimes it's a good start. Sometimes we're leading into half. We said at halftime last night, "Oh, we're down 6. This seems right." This is a good place to be. No, it's not. But that there's never any quit. The one thing that I just love about my team is just how mentally tough they are with whatever situation we're in. Down 8 late in the fourth quarter or down 5 with a minute to go. They're locked in and they're tough and they're going to make plays. So, we're going to, throw some punches. I'm sure Utah will throw punches, and, it's about weathering storms and not letting teams go on long runs. Games it's like a roller coaster ride. It's up and down. I mean, myself on the sideline, I was absolutely exhausted last night after the game because I was jumping around like a maniac because it's just like so many highs to lows and ups and downs. And the good thing is my team stays pretty poised, on the court, and they don't let too many tough plays just keep adding on. They're ready to make the next play for us. So I'm just really, really proud. We'll see how tomorrow night goes. Really excited to, like I said, this challenge of playing Utah in their home gym to get the berth into the Sweet 16. So it's just looking forward to the atmosphere and the game ahead.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Okay.
All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to today's press conference featuring the Utah Utes. We'll begin with questions for the student athletes with Kennedy McQueen and Gianna Nitkins. Once the players are done, we will dismiss them, and head coach Lynn Roberts will follow. Just a reminder to those joining us in person and on Zoom to state your organization first before asking your question. Those joining us on Zoom, you can use the raised hand function, and I will call on you throughout the press conference. So go ahead and start with questions for the student athletes.
Question for both of you. You guys are on the verge of possibly getting to the third Sweet 16 in school history. This has been a historic season of firsts. You keep accomplishing things that you've rarely done in program history. What is the excitement level like right now, knowing that is one win away?
Yeah, I think we're all really excited for the opportunity. I think that if we lock in and focus, we could do that, but right now we have to just focus on doing the right things and playing the right way tomorrow so we can achieve that goal. But yeah, this whole month of March is just such an exciting and fun time for competitors.
Yeah, just to add to that, it's been our goal since the summer when we all came back was to make it to the Sweet 16 and fill in that empty circle in our gym. So just to have the chance and be one win away from that is a huge deal, and we're definitely going to take advantage of it. We'll be ready.
By the way, this is Dana Green from ABC4. But also for both of you, there's like a 31-point difference between what Princeton gives up and what you guys score. It seems like it's going to be strength against strength. How do you look at this matchup?
Yeah, we know they're a great defensive team, but I think if we can play the way we know how to play and move the ball and make the extra pass and celebrate each other and just get our rhythm, I think we're a really hard team to stop no matter who's on the defensive end. But yeah, we have a lot of respect for their defense, but we'll be ready to attack them and then also get stops on the defensive end. So we play a complete 40 minutes.
Yeah, we've definitely watched film on their defense and the presence their post and guard defenders have, and just how to exploit that and take advantage to our strengths. So we'll definitely be ready for that. And like G touched on, we got to stop them on defense too. So we have a good game plan ready.
Next question.
Josh Newman, Salt Lake Tribune. Kennedy, if you think back to your freshman year when your college career first started, things were weird, right, with COVID, and there were a lot of restrictions and there was a lot of losing. And obviously things have...
It's true.
It's true. Things have changed for the better as your career has gone along. Can you maybe just reflect on what your journey has been for these 3 seasons?
Yeah, like you said, freshman year was kind of rough. We did experience losing a lot. So just to see, we knew at the end of that season, Coach Rob and all of us were committed, and she said we're not going to have another season like this again. And we all stood behind her in that, the people that stayed, and we brought in great people, like starting last year with Jenna and G and people like that, and who have had a huge impact in helping us lead to where we are today. They all came in with the same goal that we had of the people that stayed. So when you get together a group of people that have the same goal in mind and will do anything to make it happen, I think that's why we've seen our success rate go up and winning games. And then this off season, just keep getting the past off season, we just kept getting better. And then of course the addition of Alyssa Peely really helped. And so yeah, when you just bring a group of girls that have the same dream and same goal at the end of the year and doesn't care about personal stats more than winning, yeah, I think we get the season that we have today and prepare us for a deep run in March.
John Kuhn, Associated Press. You guys obviously get a lot of deserved attention for how powerful the offense is and how capable you are scoring the ball. But defensively, you've shown pretty strong throughout the season as well. What has kind of contributed to the defense being as strong as it is and allowing the offense to flourish?
Want me to go first? I think last year is what kind of ended when we resulted in a loss in a game or ended our run in March came down to the defensive end. Everyone knows how good we are on offense, but if we can't get stops, it doesn't matter how good you are on offense. So that's just been a key the whole past off season and all this season. It's just getting better at defense. The teams that make a great run in March are known for their defense as well as their offense. You can't just play one side, and we know the importance of that. So I think that's what helped us be more successful this year is everyone's way more focused on defense as well. So yeah, stopping the other team from scoring and then being able to score the ball like we do. that's the perfect recipe for success. So just focusing on those both ends of the floor has definitely been important to us.
Yeah, I agree with what she said. We kind of did a little bit. We made some adjustments in the off season with our defense, so I think that's played a big role in a little bit better of defense this year. We still have areas to improve on both offensively and defensively. So just learning from each game and getting better.
Last night, they kind of guarded Alyssa one-on-one for most of the game. Are you expecting a different approach? Because she showed everyone what she can do when there's just one defender on her.
I mean, I would expect a different approach. I mean, every team that we play that tries to go one-on-one, Alyssa takes full advantage of it. She's an All-American for a reason, one of the best players in the country. So, yeah, I mean, defenses should probably key in on that, but if not, I mean, we'll take it. So whatever it takes.
How much different is it hosting the tournament, practicing in your own gym, being able to use your training staff while you're here in site?
Yeah, I think the NCAA alone, or the NCAA tournament alone, is a special opportunity, and not every athlete in the country gets the chance. But when you're able to have this opportunity and then on top of it have your home crowd, be at home, get to just have your normal routine on game days and even on practice, it really it's really special. So it's really cool, and I think we're taking advantage of it.
Yeah, being able to experience what it was like to play at Texas last year, and just what an advantage it is to have your home crowd there. We saw it on the opposite end last year, so to be able to see it from this end this year and have that Huntsman loud and rocking, it makes a big difference, and it makes our momentum go stronger, last longer. So, yeah, it's been a huge advantage.
Dana Green, ABC4. With Utah State men's team out, you guys are the last local team in the state. UVU is playing in the NIT, but do you feel like the whole state may be behind you? I mean, maybe even those Team Down South fans. I mean, there's a lot of support for you that might not follow women's basketball as closely as they've had in the past, but do you feel that growing support?
Yeah, I think just with how many people have been in the Huntsman and showing out for us has been awesome. And I've heard a couple people say, like, this was our first time here, but we're going to be back. So that's really cool to see, and we couldn't do it without them. So we're super appreciative to everyone that's came out.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. Just to see the Huntsman keep filling every game has been awesome. And then, yeah, I think, like you said, we're the last team in Utah standing. So I think the whole state of Utah kind of rallies behind people. I think if even the team down south was the only team left in it, we would be behind them too. It's just cool to have Utah be represented on a national level. So we're going to, we'd support them. They support us, I'm sure.
I forgot to say my affiliate, Mike KSL Sports. How much has the Pac-12 play, it's very competitive, one of the top in the nation. How much has that Pac-12 play prepared you guys for the NCAA tournament?
Okay. I think it's helped immensely. Everyone knows the Pac-12 is one of the best, if not the best, women's basketball conference in the country. So every night we came out during the Pac-12 season, you have to be ready from 1 through 12. Everyone's good. So, yeah, I think it's helped us. We faced all different kinds of offenses, defenses. So no matter who we face, we know what we're going against, how they guard ball screens. We've seen it. Every team's different in the Pac-12, so to be able to use what we learned from those past Pac-12 games and be able to propel us far in the tournament, I think it's helped us a lot.
Yeah, same thing. Every weekend you play against the teams with the highest IQ, high athleticism, high skill girls every single night. And like Kennedy said, every game you could lose or you could win. So just having that focus and detail throughout the season and learning consistency is super huge for March, because every game you're seeing someone new, but if you stay consistent to what you're good at, that really helps.
Any other questions for the student athletes? All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started with head coach Lynn Roberts. As a reminder, those of you joining us on Zoom, you can use the raise hand function to ask a question. Coach, if you'd like to start with an opening statement.
I appreciate you guys being here, and last night was a was a good win. Watching it back, I think it felt it was better on film than it felt during the game. I thought our players did a good job. We hadn't played in over 2 weeks, and there was a little bit of some of the turnovers were just kind of uncharacteristic, a little rusty. But I thought we did a great job. Big win, a convincing win against a very good team, and stuck around to watch, obviously, the NC State Princeton game, and what a battle that was. Great game, and neither of those teams would have. It's not like we had one where we wanted to play somebody or anything like that. They're both very good. So we get Princeton, and we're excited about it. I think, this is the game 364 days ago that we lost, the chance to go to Sweet 16, and we've been motivated to get here. So our players are fired up, and our staff is fired up, knowing the challenge that it will be. Princeton's very good, incredibly well coached. I stayed up way too late watching film last night on them. So they're good. So we have our hands full, but we're looking forward to having another great crowd. And that was a huge, I'm a broken record at this point, but it matters in winning, and it helped us last night, and we're going to need it tomorrow.
Questions?
Dana Green, ABC4. This is another team that's on a roll. I think they've won 16 in a row. They give up, I think, the discrepancy between what you average offensively and what they give up is like 31 points. Do you look at this as strength against strength?
Yeah, they're so watching them. I've watched a lot of film on them. Preparing for this week, I've been watching the three teams a lot. Their defense is impressive. They're just so disciplined with it. Every time someone catches it, they got hands up. They rotate so well. Mitchell, their center, is kind of their anchor. Incredibly impressed with them. And then seeing it live it's even better. So they, go figure. It's probably safe to say that they're a smart team. Go figure. Princeton has a really smart defensive team, and they don't make mistakes that seemingly defensively. So that's why they're so good in that regard. And but we can score, and they got to stop us. But it's going to be the battle of wills, I'm sure, in that regard.
Isabel Rodriguez with the Daily Princetonian. I'm just curious for you. I mean, Alyssa Peely had the first 30-point game of the tournament. I'm just curious for you, like how she's fit in and how much she brings to this program and what she's going to bring on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, she kind of is the straw that stirs the drink for us right now. She is a nightmare to defend, and because she can shoot the three, because she's big and strong, but she's really athletic and mobile. So it doesn't matter who we're playing. I think you have to game plan for her. But then with our three-point shooting, it's you kind of have to pick your poison. But she's just done a tremendous job of fitting in. To answer your question, she's a transfer, and the credit goes to her buy-in and her ability to do what we're asking. So she's been obviously a key superstar for us.
Josh Newman, Salt Lake Tribune. You said in the past that completely lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
We made you wait too long.
I guess so.
I love it.
Next
You
we'll
sound
go
like me
to,
right now.
We'll go to Jen Hatfield on Zoom.
Hi, Coach. Jen Hatfield with the Next. Just curious, when you look at the Princeton offense, just curious what your thoughts are on Caitlin Chen and kind of how you balance going against her, but also, not letting some of their other players like a Grace Stone last night get going.
Yeah. Chen is really good, and I was so impressed with her. Again, same thing. Watching on film, really liked what she did, and then watching her live, she was even better. She's kind of crafty, and she changes pace so well, and then has just a variety of different ways to finish. She's not the biggest out there, but she's an athlete and can get off the floor. But her ability to use the glass and finish different ways. And then if you collapse, if she's able to get downhill and you have to rotate, then that's when she's excellent at finding shooters. So, we've got to do a good job of containing her. I don't think you can completely do it, but you've got to do it the best you can. And we've got different people with different, size that can have a go at her, but she definitely makes them go.
Mike, KSL Sports. Peely's passing out of the paint. How much of a weapon is that to you guys' program, especially with the three-point shooters you guys have on the perimeter?
Yeah, it's a luxury. I've never had a post that can pass like that in traffic. She's just got great vision, but she can palm the ball off the dribble, so her hands are, I think, one of her biggest strengths. Just her catching. She can catch just about anything. It's hard to take it from her in traffic because her hands are just so big and strong, and then her vision is great. And she's unselfish. Like, that's the key. Later, as we've gotten into February, everyone's opposing team's game plan is to take her away, or at least try to give her something to think about. And she's doing a really, really good job of letting the game come to her and not trying to force it. And she's going to, if you're open and she's not, she's going to pass it.
Let's try this again.
Here we go.
You have indicated in the past that as parity persists and as attendance improves, that maybe you'd be open to the first and second rounds moving off campuses and back to neutral sites. Now that you've experienced this on campus, the advantage is the crowd. Do you still feel that way, that maybe the first two rounds should move back to neutrals?
Come on, Josh.
I'm going to make you work today. It's okay.
I certainly can. I could say both. I understand why we do it, and I think we're a ways away. This year, the way the tournament's we're doing the kind of super regionals for the first time on the women's side. So there's the South Carolina region and then the Seattle region. So the winners from these 16 sites, 8 teams will go here, 8 teams will go there for fans, and then the winners of the two winners of those will go to Dallas. So that's a new kind of method. As I think it's important, as like you said, the parity. If you look at the top 10, there's been a lot of people jumping in and out. There's a lot of mid-major teams that are really good, and it's evening out, which is really good for our sport. So I think eventually, yeah, it should move to neutral, but not right now. Not tomorrow. Not next year. No.
John Kuhn, Associated Press. When you look at just how proficient the offense has been for you guys this year, obviously defense has played a huge part in that. Comparing, just what the team has done in the past on defense to what you're doing this year, where have you seen kind of the biggest strides and the biggest evolution from your team?
Well, we kind of, and I've said this before, but last year I think we finished 8th in the country in offensive efficiency, and we were like 240 in defense. So, we talked about it in the summer. If we want to take the next step and win this game tomorrow, and for beyond, we've got to get better defensively. Offensively, we're good enough, but defensively, we're not. And so it was kind of a philosophical mindset change of the players, and we worked on it a lot differently, a lot more intentionally. And then, just strategically, we made some changes, too, of how we're going to defend. I won't bore you with that, but there was a lot of, just different things that – because you got to play to your personnel. You have to play to your strengths. You can't be a run and jump pressing team if you don't have the depth and the athletes to do it. You can't be a zone team if you're not super big. You got to figure out what fits your personnel, and so that's what we did.
Coach, do you kind of feel the swell of support from around the entire state, not just Utah fans, but you're the last team standing, men's or women's, in the NCAA tournament? I mean, fans of other schools are taking interest in you. Do you feel like that groundswell of building?
I do, and it means a lot. And it's it's been I always use the analogy of pushing the boulder up the hill and doing things for the first time. You have to have that mindset. You're just going to keep pushing, and it's been incredibly fun to see the support, and I think the swell is a perfect word for it. And our most importantly, our players feel it, and this is why you play, right? And it means so much. And I know I say it over and over, but if we want, this isn't going to be a flash in the pan. This isn't going to be oh wow, remember that year they had such an incredible year. We're going to keep doing it, but it has to go hand in hand with that support and that community support, because recruits care about that, players care, and that's how you build a sustainable championship program.
Lynn, Jenna Johnson seems to have the moniker of Team Mom on this team, and I'm curious, from your perspective, how do you kind of see that manifest, like day to day, week to week, throughout the last couple of years that she's been here?
Oh, Jenna's phenomenal. She's 19 going on 40. She is the most just mature, even-keeled, consistent player we have. And what I love about her is she is who she is. There is no, she's confident in who she is. She knows who she is. She's also is incredibly busy off the court. We were talking as we were getting ready to watch film. We were just shooting the breeze, a bunch of us, and we were talking about movies. And she's like, "Oh, I don't watch movies." Why not? I don't have time. I get bored. It's like, what do you mean you don't have time? And do you watch shows? No, I don't ever watch TV. And it's because she's doing all these other extracurricular activities with, she's really involved in her church, and then she has student leadership stuff and FCA, and her schedule is packed with stuff, and that's the way she likes it. And she just kind of, everyone loves her, but she just kind of beats her own drum that way. And I have so much respect for young people that can do that.
Of course, you're worried about tomorrow and hopefully potentially next week, this season. But if everybody comes back, right, you have no seniors. Do you ever find yourself, your mind wandering towards what could be if everybody comes back next year?
Yeah, I think it's exciting to think about. But I've cautioned all of us that nothing is guaranteed either. And so, I didn't want us to get into this trap as we head into, down the stretch of season to next year we'll have everyone back, and, because you don't know. Things can happen, and sports are crazy that way. And so we need to play like this year is the year, and they need to approach it like, who knows what next year will bring. But, yeah, of course, it's exciting to think about. And we've got a couple recruits coming in that are going to be great freshmen again. And then, that's how you keep building it. But stay in the moment for sure, but yeah, I've thought about it.
So you got a chance to play against Mike again, KSL Sport. You got a chance to play against Alabama earlier this season. The Pac-12 and SEC, of course, are some of the top conferences in all of college basketball. Playing preseason games like that, is that something that the Pac-12 should explore more, like having Mississippi State here at Utah or LSU here, or you guys are out there at just some more preseason games to get preparation going into the season and for the tournament?
Yeah, I think you have to know your team, and what your team's ready for. We knew we had a good group coming back, and so we scheduled a little harder non-conference. We wanted to get those tests. Oklahoma here, Ole Miss and Alabama on the road. And we knew going into scheduling those that, we might not win those, but they're going to be great tests for us to see where we're at before we head into Pac-12, and we were fortunate to win them, which has helped us, get this 2 seed. But yeah, I think scheduling's tricky. You got to know how good your team is. I don't think in the Pac-12, because we play 18 games that are NCAA tournament caliber games, you don't need to schedule really challenging ones all the time. I don't think it's smart as a coach to schedule a game that you're going to get thumped. But if you know your team can compete, I think you should. So where we're at right now, yes, we're going to look to be doing that more and more.
That was your final question?
Wow. Thank you all. See you tomorrow. Let's go. It's going to be a long 27 hours.